Hey everyone, this is your girl Sharifa, aka Shree, and welcome to the I'm Good podcast, or in better words, the I Feel Good podcast. If you are new here, welcome to the family. This is a podcast where I explore topics on mental health, physical health, nutrition, and everything in between. So if you're trying to get right and stay right mentally, this is definitely the place you want to be. And wait, before I begin, here's some quick info. Why did I name this podcast I'm Good? Simple. Because as people, from a cultural standpoint, whether we are down or happy, our favorite response to friends, families, or strangers is I'm good, even if we're not. It's completely normal not to feel happy all the time, but in the midst of whatever you go through, the saying I'm good can elaborate to so many different meanings. So yes, this is the place to be, whether you are down, happy, excited, and everything in between. I'm here to dish out knowledge, talk about current topics, and of course, lift you up. So feel free to go ahead and subscribe, share this podcast, leave a review, and tell a friend. Now let's go ahead and get started on today's show. Hey guys, if you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. And let me explain to you really quick. First of all, for starters, it's free. Yes, I said it's free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. And I know most of you guys have a phone or computer, so it's so easy. Anchor will also distribute your podcast for you. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. So make sure you download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Hey everyone, welcome to the I'm Good podcast. If you are new here, what's good, what's poppin'? Thank you so much for stopping over and heading over to the I'm Good podcast. However you came, if it came through my IG, my Instagram, if you just found me through searching podcast, thank you so much for clicking on this episode. And for all of my returning listeners, what's good, what's poppin'? How has everyone week been? Yes, y'all. I feel like this week a lot has went on, especially in the States. A lot has been going on. And then also too, for me this week, y'all, the week tried it. This week it tried it. But like I said, I'm all about, flipping my mind, especially after watching The Secret, about, putting out even more positive energy. So even like if you don't feel well, how to flip it to make yourself feel fine. Y'all, I had kind of a little bit of trying week, but I got through it. This was the week that I officially relaunched my website, All Things Shree, an urban branding store that is geared towards just basically sweatshirts and phone cases that are meant to inspire you and uplift you and make you the queen and king that you are. Period. And then also too, so the podcast is sponsored by All Things Shree. So I got a little, listener perk for you guys. If you go into the show notes, you will see your little discount code. So go ahead and use that little promo code to get, a little discount off for my listeners. Also, too, if you are listening to this, I am running a sale, 20% off the entire site and off your entire order. It'll be 20% off if you use coupon code HelloFall. So make sure you guys go ahead, head over to allthingsShree.com. That information is in the show notes. But yeah, so right before the day of my launch, I launched it on fall. I was not feeling my best, but I told myself I'm going to press forward. I'm going to push, and listen, I got it done. And it looked effortless. So on social media, that's why I think social media is so funny. You would never thought that, I had to go through all this stuff just to even get it up. But people don't understand the work that goes behind the scenes. People don't understand how, every day won't be a good day or a great day, whatever. But at the end of the day, I told myself, push through it. And we kind of talked about it last week. It's all about progress. It's not about perfection. For me in particular, I used to kind of be more into the perfection. I said, scratch that. It's not about perfection. It's about progress. So for me, what I care about is progress. I might not have the perfect this, perfect numbers, perfect blah, blah, blah. But as long as I'm progressing towards a better me, if I'm progressing towards, running a better business, that's what matters to me. So if you missed that episode, make sure you go ahead and check out this previous episode where I talk about 10 stress relieving foods. So if you feeling stressed out, if you feel like someone else that's stressed out, or you just know you're going to get stressed out soon, go ahead and check out that episode where I talk about 10 stress relieving foods, and it might be very helpful. So yes, y'all. So let's see what we got today. As always, I want to say thank you so much for everyone who tunes in each week to listen to the I'm Good podcast. Thank you so much for my new followers on my Instagram page. I know I said previously I did have an Instagram before. I took it down. Now I started a new one, the I'm Good podcast. Well, it's at I'm Good podcast on Instagram. That'll be in the show notes as well. So yes, I thank everyone who tunes in each week. I'm telling you, each week I have new listeners from around the world. Shout out to y'all. Listen, because I'm from the States. I'm from United States. United States. That sounds so formal. I'm from United States. So I'm from the States, coming from Buffalo, New York, period. Shout out to the 716. But yes, that's where I'm from. And, but yes, y'all, thank you guys so much for tuning in. And let's see, what else do we have? Also too, if you have any questions for me, like I said, if you have any questions, I'm going to be doing an Ask Sheree segment. Feel free to go ahead and send in those questions via email. My email is in the show notes. Contact me, Sharifa@gmail.com. Or you can also submit Ask Sheree questions on my Instagram page, and I can answer them. Well, if you want me to answer it privately, I guess you should probably tell me that you want me to answer it privately. But the whole goal is I want to be able to answer it on here to help you guys and other people out. Because there's other listeners who may have the same question, but, might not want to say it. That was kind of me in class, I feel like, when I was younger. I would, have a question, but I wouldn't say it. I would wait till the other person asks. I'm like, yes. So, but if you do have a question, listen, don't hesitate. Go ahead and ask. I don't bite. Listen, y'all, I promise y'all, yes. So just go ahead and send me those questions, and I'll answer them. It could be honestly about anything. Like I said, for most of you guys, what the topics and things that I talk about and things like that. But if you want to throw me for a loop, maybe ask something about me, I can, answer, as long, obviously it's not that personal or crazy where I'm like, sir, ma'am, no. But yeah, so feel free to ask me something. You can, try to get to know me more. Because I feel like I don't say a whole lot about me, but it's not completely intentional. I'm not going to, obviously, I don't say everything, but as you grow with me, you'll get to learn a little bit more about me and about my story. And for the people that do know me, they already know me, but they don't know. There's still things everybody doesn't know about me, or just anything in general. That's anybody. You don't really fully always know everything about a person. So this is kind of like my open diary, my open book, where I'm able to talk about, things that I've been through. And this also allows me to help other people as well. So let's see what else. Also too, we also do have a quick feedback survey. It's just literally a podcast listener survey, just so I can get some feedback as to what segments I should add in, what topics I should talk about more. I see a lot of you guys love when I talk about nutrition and things like that. So today will be another nutrition podcast, in relation to, the gut and the mind. So yes, y'all. So, make sure you guys also too rate and review. If you're listening to this in Apple Podcasts, make sure you hit those stars. Scroll up. There's 5 stars. Hit your amount of stars. I'm not even going to tell you what to hit. I want honest ratings and reviews. So hit those stars. And also too, if you would so kindly leave a review, it helps this podcast grow even more. And then also too, if you got social media, if you listening to this, however you listening to it, if you want to share it on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, whatever, go ahead, share it. If you want to tell a friend verbally, do what you got to do. Like I said, it all helps. And we are growing. We are growing as a family. I feel like I just about have new listeners each week. A lot of people are binge listening to the previous episodes and all that. So go ahead, take a look at the other episodes. I have a lot of good information there. And yes, y'all. So let's get started on today's show. So today's show, I want to talk about the relationship between the gut and the mind. Now, when I talk about the gut, what am I talking about? I'm talking about the gut as in the digestive system. So when we talk about gut, we talk about when you have a stomach ache, maybe you have cramps in your stomach, maybe you have bloating, gas, or anything like that. That's what the gut is. The gut is honestly very important to the body because obviously when you eat food, it goes into your gut. So it is very, very important that, we feed our gut healthy foods. But what I found that was very interesting, through a lot of my previous research in regards to the relationship between mental health and the foods that we eat, is that there is a really big connection between the gut and the mind, and then the gut and mental health. So for me, I just kind of want to just bring this, just bring some information to you guys today in regards to the gut and how it is linked to decreasing if you have a happy gut. And a happy gut is mean, you're eating the correct foods and doing the correct things to have a healthy gut, and how can it lead to a happy and healthy mind. And if you really kind of just think about it too, I always say this as well. If you think about it, when it comes to like having like a stomach ache, 9 times out of 10, when you don't have a stomach, 9 times out of 10, if you have a stomach ache, you ain't like, oh yes, oh my God, this stomach ache, my stomach hurting, but my mind, I feel good, I feel positive. Okay, maybe I'm gonna talk for myself. When my stomach hurts, I'm not like, oh, I'm gonna take over the world. Instead, when my stomach hurts and my gut hurts, I'm like, I'm actually not going to take over the world. I'm going to lay in my bed and I'm unhappy and I'm starting to get a little depressed. So, and it makes sense, like when I thought about it too, the relationship between, the gut, when you eat foods that upset your stomach, or if you ever had food poisoning, or if you just had bad stomach aches, or if you had bad bloating or anything like that, 9 times out of 10, when your stomach ain't right, your mind not right. Just think about that. Like when your stomach hurt, you can't even really focus. Your mind gets a little fuzzy. And I also think about things such as like when you kind of have anxiety, maybe there's a speech you got to do, or maybe there's something that you have to do. When you get a little anxious, your gut kind of just makes all this movement and noise. And then you get up and, sometimes it can make your brain a little fuzzy. You can't even remember what you're going to talk about. Maybe I'm talking about myself. That was me in college, y'all. Yeah, that was little... That's so funny. I just thought about that. So I remember I was a freshman in college, y'all. A freshman in college, and I went to the University of Akron in Ohio. Woohoo! Shout out to the Roos. And I remember I had a public speaking course, and I was so nervous. It was like a nighttime class. I think it was literally about maybe 5 or 6 people in here. But y'all, I was so nervous. Like literally gut, like my stomach was like, it was turning. It was like, oh. And I just remember I was so scared, and I had to do a public speech. Not a public speech. Yeah, it was a public speech, whatever. I had to do a speech talking about my nephew. My nephew at the time, I believe he was 1 or 2 years old, and I was supposed to talk about my nephew. Long story short, my mind and anxiety and my gut was so messed up that when I did my speech about my nephew in front of the class, I couldn't even remember who my nephew was. My mind got so fuzzy and so blank. I'm like, and who I? My name is what? So there definitely is a really huge correlation in regards to how if you are experiencing anxiety or even depression or anything like that, 9 times out of 10, it could be poor gut health, or it's just that it just also shows the connection. And not to say I had poor gut health at the moment, but it also just tells you that, a lot of times when you get nervous or things like that, it affects your gut because the brain in the gut is connected. So when you're nervous, your stomach tends to turn and do all these things. But when you're happy, you don't be like, yo, I'm happy right now. But my stomach upset. No, when you're happy and you have a healthy mind, and you're not anxiety prone or depression prone, 9 times out of 10, your stomach is okay. So that's the connection between a gut and mind. So next time you think about it, if you get nervous and you like, yo, why do I got to use the bathroom or why my stomach hurt? It's because there is a true connection between the mind and the gut. Y'all should have a PowerPoint. I love talking about nutrition and stuff like that. Like, I could eat this stuff up. I love talking about nutrition. I just love talking about just the connections between food and mental health. And because listen, we got to stay woke. I feel like this is me personally. I also feel like this in my studies. I feel like there's not enough information out there about what you can do if you are dealing with, a poor mental state, if you're dealing with anxiety, depression, sadness, or anything like that. I feel like there's not a lot of information about ways you can do things naturally to uplift yourself. And I feel like for me, when I dealt with a lot of anxiety in my past and I've dealt with depression and things like that, it was always kind of like, well, you could take medicine. And honestly, to be honest, it wasn't even that well you could take medicine. I actually didn't even tell nobody. I dealt with a lot of my own anxiety by myself. It's something that I just dealt with myself and I was able to break out of. And I was able to break out of it just kind of doing things myself, trial and error. And that's why I am here today to talk about, mental health and things like that, because it is important. And then also, too, anxiety, depression, mental health doesn't have a face. You could look at somebody and be like, oh, they're not experiencing something. But it really doesn't have a face. And I always said that, like, you just really never know what somebody goes through. So that's why I'm here to, talk about these things I'm just going to tell you about. I'm big on not taking medicine. What can I do to not take the medicine? If I'm battling this issue, is there something that I can do? Is there some food that I can take? In regards to like the flu and things like that, what foods can I take that could stop maybe the spread of the flu or stop the spread of the flu in my body? And that's why my very episode, my true I'm Good fam listeners, my very, very first episode that I published on March 13th of this year was Corona Who? Foods to boost your immune system. I talked about garlic and other foods. They're not going to tell you this stuff on the news. Like, they literally are not going to tell you this stuff on the news. And like, I want to be here to use this platform to tell you guys, like, there's so much that you can do. They're not going to also tell you about the power of manifestation, the power of affirmations. And I just feel like, we live in, especially in the States, we live in a country where, the pharmaceutical world thrives off of, us taking drugs to help ourselves. And a lot of times when you take those drugs have an effect where you can even worse. So people who might have anxiety or depression might take an anxiety depression drug and it might do something else. So I think personally it's very important to kind of look into why are these things happening? What can I do to stop these things? So food is very important. So after like doing a little bit of research, I realized that there are some foods, there's actually a lot of foods that can promote a happy gut. And so for anybody who have things such as celiac disease or Crohn's disease or anything like that, the information that I'm going to give you today will also be helpful as well. So, and there's a lot of digestive type of illnesses and digestive problems out there. And the foods that I'm going to just kind of run through real quick, it can also help somebody who might be battling Crohn's or celiac disease or any other disease. So if you know someone who you feel like this would be helpful to, make sure that you send that to them, send this podcast to them as well. And then, feel free to do your own research as well. I constantly do my own research, in regards to understanding foods that can definitely help with, a positive mental state. And like for me personally, the reason why I'm big on it is because I did go through I've been through periods of time where I wasn't my best self mentally. But when I started eating correctly and I started putting healthy foods in my body, when I started exercising, I'm like, depression who? Anxiety who? Like what? Like, it was like, what? Like, I literally turned into a whole different person. So that's why I said it is important to try to see what you can do on level 1 in regards to food. Now, don't get me wrong. If you need medication, go ahead and take it. I'm not trying to tell you not to take medication, but I also want, you guys to understand that there are things that you can do on a level 1 basis. If you're, maybe you have a child or somebody that's dealing with this, maybe you have a family member, a friend, whoever, and you maybe not too fond of medication, have them start off, doing something from a nutrition standpoint, eating better foods to see if that improves their mind. And then also improves their gut as well. So also to just kind of like a keynote, the gut bacteria, in regards to the gut. So the gut bacteria provides neurotransmitters such as dopamine, which are critical for mood, anxiety, and other mood regulation behaviors. So the bacteria in your gut produces those things, those transmitters that could be poured out to make you feel good. And I always talk about those things. Like I say, like when you work out and things like that, your body releases, like I call it the happy neurotransmitters, the feel good neurotransmitters. Because if you think about it, and I think I seen a meme maybe about 2 or 3 years ago when I was working out hard, it said no one ever said, after they leave the gym, it said no one ever says, geesh, wish I never went. Like no one ever says that. Like think about that. It's hard enough to go to the gym, but when you finally get there, you like, yo, did it, went to the gym and things like that. Like, you're not like, man, I should have never went. But the reason why when you go to the gym and then you leave out and like you feel good is because your body released those chemicals. It released the feel good chemicals. So that's why I always stand by, trying to work out and eating well before looking at other things or, trying to find other ways, to get better. Because a lot of things that we do or deal with in regards to making us feel better, and for a lot of diseases, a lot of it comes from food. It comes from the food that you eat. Another big topic, that I like to definitely dive more into research into, especially because I see so much information about it. Well, not so much information about it. I actually see no information about it, is a topic between cancer and nutrition. I kind of feel like it's kind of hidden. Me personally, that's just how I feel. I feel like there's not enough information in regards to it. And then the information that was provided to me as I went through my nutritional studies for my master's degree was crazy. And the information that I seen, like one of the biggest things that stood out to me was that they said individuals who have cancer are told to go on a meat-free diet. And just for me, I just feel like I never would have seen that information if it wasn't for me reading a book. Like, you don't hear nothing about that. I would say for myself, I don't hear nothing about, you should eat this or not eat that in regards to like diseases or things like that, or cancer. You just hear about, chemotherapy and things like that, but you don't really hear too much about how nutrition plays such a vital role in our health. And most importantly as well, our mental health as well. Because if you don't have good mental health, it could honestly lead to a poor quality of life. But guess what, y'all? That's what I'm here for. Because listen, I'm Good Fam. We are the I'm Good Fam. We are here for good mental health. So here's just some really quick foods that you should eat in regards to promoting a happy gut, a healthy gut. You want to make sure you stock up on a lot of foods with fiber. If you think about fiber helps your body go regularly. So when you eat a lot of fiber, your body is like a good oiled machine. It works properly. You don't want to get too much fiber, because for some people, too much fiber may make your stomach go haywire and you might have to be running to the bathroom left and right. But you want to get enough fiber to clean your body. You want to clean your body of any toxins that are in there, and then just drink plenty of fluids to flush out any toxins or any waste that shouldn't be in there. Because once it builds up, then that's when your mind gets foggy. That's when you kind of have those stomach aches, or that's when, if you do have a disease, that's when it leads to inflammation in the digestive system. Also diverticulosis. Am I saying that right? Diverticulitis also is another disease related to the gut as well. So, and it can also cause inflammation when you eat low fiber foods. So you want to eat foods that are high in fiber. Fiber-rich foods, I should say. Fiber-rich foods. So those would be foods such as your veggies. I talk about vegetables all the time. Your broccoli, your spinach. There's so many veggies. You want to load up on veggies. And then also fruits. Fruits is another way to promote a happy gut. And so as I say those two, veggies and fruits, one of the things that you can do, and I do this for myself, I actually got to get back more into it, is if you do not, like I try to tell people around me as well, especially from a nutrition standpoint, if you do not like vegetables or fruits, try juicing. For me, I actually kind of really got into the whole Whole Foods juicing. So I'll go to Whole Foods, and then they have these juicing bottles, like carrot beet juice in a bottle. They sell it for like $7. Yes, definitely a lot. But I feel like if you feel like you need to get those vitamins in or those nutrients in, and you really cannot stand vegetables, I always say the next alternative can also be smoothies or juicing. For some people don't like the texture of smoothies, and I get it because it's very thick. But juicing is more of an even clearer way to get the nutrients that you need. Now, I will say with juicing, it strips out the fiber. That's the only thing. It strips out the fiber because you're just getting the juice out of, the fruits and vegetables. So that's why kind of the next step or level I would say is to do the smoothie. But the ultimate step to make sure you get these fiber-rich foods is just to eat the food in its form, the vegetables and fruits. Another food that is very helpful in regards to leading to a happy gut is eating beans. Not everybody can tolerate it. So, do what's best for you. If maybe it's a little serving of beans, maybe it's no beans. Maybe you just need to stock up more on the vegetables and fruits. You can do that. Also, too, nuts. Nuts are very helpful. Now, for the people who can't tolerate nuts, and I keep saying, if you can't tolerate beans and nuts, because a lot of these foods that I'm saying could be very tough on the stomach, especially if you already have issues. But you want to eat these foods in moderation. And there's tons of foods that you can eat in regards to a happy gut. And honestly, y'all, just to be honest with you, the happy gut is literally just healthy foods. So like I said, it's the veggies, the fruits, the beans, the nuts, drinking plenty of water. Honestly, it's just healthy foods. And I talk about it each week. And we talk about ways to eat healthy foods, ways to decrease depression, anxiety. I talk about self-care, things you can do. If you can seek by now, I always say this in all of my podcast episodes, there is a clear pattern. A lot of the information that I give to you guys is always kind of the same thing, repetitive, which is fine, but it's very repetitive. It states that, you should eat this, to feel good, or you should eat this to diminish this. You should eat that. So for the happy gut, or for a healthy gut and a happy mind, it goes back to that clean eating. And no, I'm not saying you have to eat clean all the time to have a happy gut. Because, I'm learning now, something I've tried to implement it, I went a little bit over, was the 80-20 rule, where they say 20% unclean, 80% clean. I say do what works for you. If you could just try each day, like I said, it's progress over perfection, to incorporate something healthy, that's better than, going strict clean and then all of a sudden you binge eat a whole bag of Oreos because you went straight clean and now you're crushing and craving Oreos. So progress over perfection. That's my new thing. Progress over perfection. So that quote, just stay in your head. That's for anybody who wants to be a perfectionist, because guess what? Perfectionist is not real. Nothing is going to be perfect. Nothing will ever be perfect. Progress over perfection. So then also too, they also stated that another round of foods that are helpful in regards to having a healthy gut is consuming non-gluten containing whole grains. So, try to get the gluten-free whole grains or anything like that, because gluten has shown to attack the immune system. So that's why people who have I believe it's celiac. Celiac disease is for those who can't. I'm trying to think. I'm pretty sure celiac disease, y'all, I should know, the celiac disease is for those who can tolerate gluten. Yes, maybe. I think it is celiac. Yes. So that's another gut disease as well. So, if you feel like your body's really sensitive to the foods you eat, try going gluten-free and see how that helps. And I will say this too, just like the whole vegan thing in regards to a lot of restaurants and food places offering vegan food, the popularity in regards to the gluten-free sections in grocery stores and in restaurants is bomb. I love it. And also vegan. So if maybe you having an upset stomach and your stomach hasn't been feeling well, try incorporating some gluten-free foods and see how your stomach reacts, and then also see how you feel. So once your gut starts feeling better, you'll probably start to see an improvement in your mind, and it won't be as foggy. So that's just something I just thought of, try doing that. And like I said, there's a lot of foods out there that are gluten-free. I have tried to eat gluten-free bread and things like that for myself, because I also deal with the thyroid issue. And I think I've mentioned that to you guys before, thyroid. I read a lot of research where they say you should eat gluten-free foods. For me, the gluten-free foods are okay. I've had gluten-free bread, but to me, I just be feeling like the bread just be breaking up. The bread just be doing all this extra stuff. So I'm still kind of just in the phase of just trying to figure out what foods, gluten-free foods that are actually I like, in order to want me to eat it and stuff like that. So just some other things that, would be helpful in regards to promoting a happy gut is making sure that you up your water intake. If you're already drinking a lot of water, too much water, don't up it. But if you feel like you haven't been drinking a lot of water, up your water intake. That can help flush out any toxins. Reduce any dairy. So if you're lactose or anything like that, that could really put a lot of harm to your gut. Reduce sugar intake. If you're eating a lot of sugar can cause inflammation as well. So be careful with the sugar. You can still eat it, but be careful with the sugar. Sugar has been known to cause inflammation. And then also too, upon research, actually showed that sugar may also be linked to the growth of some cancer cells and things like that. And I think I might dive into that. Let me know if you guys want me to, kind of dive into that a little bit, because I've been doing a little bit of research on that as well, because I've been very curious about what foods can help people with cancer, because you see it so often, but I really want to know the nutritional standpoint. Like, there has to be foods out there that can, diminish these cells that are growing to be cancers and things like that. So reduce your sugar intake. Like I said, you can still have fun and eat, in moderation, the foods that you want. But to be honest with you, you do have to make a sacrifice. If you want to have a healthy mind, a happy mind, a healthy gut, and you want to live, a good quality of life. So you don't want a poor quality of life. You want to live a good quality of life. You definitely want to do these things and, self-sacrifice it where, you're able to live a full quality of life, So, so those are just basically some of the foods that will definitely help you in regards to having a happy gut. And that's just, some information. I just thought that it was very important to talk about this week. I just think, like I said, gut and stress is also related, being stressed and in the gut and things like that. Like I said, we are all dealing with a lot of things. Stress can make the gut worse. And then also we know stress affects the mind and stuff like that. So I think it is very, very important just for me to kind of talk about, how the gut and the mind is connected. Because for a lot of people, you might have a stomach ache and not realize, like, why do I always feel down, or why is it this? It really could just be, the inflammation of your digestive system, or just maybe the foods that you're eating. So, I hope that information was helpful. And then also let me add in also 2 other things that can also help, promote a happy gut is sleep and exercise. Yes, y'all. So this week's quote of the week, I thought was kind of cool. So this week's quote of the week is trust your gut. Literally, you hear that all the time where they be like, yo, just trust your gut. Your gut knows. But literally, trust your gut. If you don't feel well, trust your gut. Maybe there's something you got to improve in your diet. Maybe there's a shift or something you got to change. But listen, trust your gut. Your gut knows. Like, when you feel like something is off, your gut, it's like your stomach and your mind be telling you, like, sis, bruh, like, I shouldn't be going there, or I shouldn't be doing this. Trust your gut. So yes, y'all, you already know what time it is. I'm good, fam. We are now at the end of this week's show, and I hope this information was helpful, insightful, and everything in between. And do not forget to subscribe. Share this podcast on all y'all socials. Tell a friend, whatever you got to do. Leave a review. Tell a friend, tell a family member, tell, whoever, tell a coworker. Let them know that the I'm Good podcast is where it's at. So thank you guys so much once again for tuning into my episodes each week. And if you are new here, go ahead. I'll let you do it. Go ahead and listen to all my episodes. I keep saying binge watch because right now you can't watch it, but binge listen to all of my episodes. And one more other thing, guys, I forgot to add, we are now on Amazon Music. Amazon now offers podcasts, and guess who's on Amazon's podcast platform? We are. So make sure you guys go ahead and check me out on there. So yes, if you have any questions, feel free to ask me on my website. No, feel free to ask me on my IG or email. And do not forget to go ahead and check out my website, allthingstree.com, and use your promo code, y'all. Use your promo code. That's your listener perk. Go ahead and use that promo code. That is for my I'm Good podcast listeners. That information is in the show notes. And once again, like I said, thank you guys so much for tuning in each week, and I will see all of you beautiful people. Bye-bye.